Good evening. I now call the public hearing and special meeting of the Cleveland ISD Board of Trustees to order. Today is Monday, August 24th, 2026. The time is 6 o'clock p.m. Welcome to tonight's public hearing and special board meeting. Thank you all for being here and for your continued service and support of our district and students. If you would, please join me as Bethany Porter is going to lead us in opening remarks.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, and indivisible. Conduct the public hearing, the 2026-2027 proposed budget and tax rate. We will now conduct a public hearing to discuss the proposed budget and tax rate for the 2026-2027 school year. At this time, I will turn it over to Karen Billingsley, the CFO, for our presentation.
Good evening, Dr. Barnes, President Sampson, the rest of the board, and attendees. Tonight, we are going to have a public hearing to discuss the proposed 26-27 budget and tax rate. Okay. Okay, so the significant influencing factors this year in preparing our budget were the charter school impact again, property values and our tax rate, the impact of any staff raises, fast growth allotment, and the attendance rate, which I know you're going to say fast growth allotment is taken into consideration because we did lose almost $7 million in fast growth this year, so that did impact our budget. And then any legislative impact of any of the bills that they did. So our budget goals are to preserve the quality of instruction and services, retain and recruit quality staff, prioritize student and staff safety, and protect district's operational infrastructure. So as you know, when our property taxes go up, our state funding goes down and vice versa. The funding of school districts is primarily through property taxes and state aid. So our property taxes, our values are determined by Liberty, Montgomery, San Jacinto County appraisal districts. Our tax rate is comprised of an M&O portion and an INS portion. And the M&O portion could be increased at some future date with a voter approval tax rate election. The state aid is through legislative funding formulas. It is influenced by our enrollment and our ADA, special populations, our property wealth, and enrichment pennies. It is not adjusted for inflation, and the basic allotment this year is $62.15. So the impact of the homestead exemption, as you'll see on another slide also, but on a $200,000 house, the current homestead exemption is $140,000, so that saves the taxpayer $1,433.74. And that is based on our projected 1.0241 tax rate. Here's our tax rate history for the last 26 years. And of course, you see at the top our projected one that we're presenting for approval tonight. Here are our property tax values for the last several years. I just want to point out that in 23-24, you can see a significant drop in the percentage change, and that's because the state increased the homestead to $100,000. And then again in 25-26, they increased it to $140,000. So we had another significant drop in the percentage increase. Our student enrollment, also for the last several years, and I just wanted to point out in the 26-27 year, excuse me, sorry, we are keeping our attendance or our enrollment at the same thing we ended last year with due to legislative changes, the charter school, and any kind of vouchers that our students may take advantage of. So in 26-27, we have an estimated revenue for the general fund of $146,041,911. That's a decrease of $8,669,211, or 5.6% below our current amended revenues. And then that is based on the 0.6669 M&O rate that we're proposing. Local share of that is 22.65%. State share is 76.79%, and federal share is 0.56% of that funding. Just to point out, the general fund local revenue, sorry, a majority of that local revenue is the property tax that we collect. That includes current taxes, delinquent taxes, and the penalties and interest. And that will also depend on what tax rate that the board approves for tonight. Other local revenue is generated by interest income, athletic events, rent, donations, and other miscellaneous. For the state revenue, it is based on the formula from the state, and it includes, factors such as ADA, our property values, special populations of students. And of the estimated $104 million we are budgeting for our state revenue, approximately $46.9 million has strings attached. So we have to spend that for direct services on students, and they also have guidelines for how you can spend that money. For the general fund federal revenue, the majority of the federal revenue we receive is the SHARS, Medicaid, health-related services. So we bill out through a third party, occupational therapy, physical therapy, and speech therapy. So the estimated budget appropriations or expenses are $157,016,684 for general fund. That includes a payroll increase for classroom teachers with 3 to 4 years of experience based on the teacher retention allotment. That also includes RNs, instructional coaches, and librarians. They're receiving the same amount that the classroom teachers are receiving. And then other staff are receiving a 2% raise and or equity adjustments. It includes also 4 buses if we need them, redoing the football field turf, E-rate activities, and increases in utility, CAD, fuel, and insurance costs. So here are the general fund estimated expenditures and revenues. The expenditures are listed for you at the functional level, and then the revenues are at the object level. And just a reminder that that's how the board is to approve that tonight. It's not all the detail, but you do it at the functional level for expenditures and object for revenue. And just to remind you also that the budget may have to be amended during the year for us to stay in compliance. So on this chart, you'll see the estimated expenditures of $157,016,684 by major object level. So for payroll of the budget, that is 81.69% of the budget. Contracted services are 8.13%. Supplies are 6.72%. Other operating is 2.46%. Debt service is 0.25%, and capital outlay is 0.75%. Here are those same amounts with the dollars and the percentages in list form. So you can see those dollar amounts. Then this is also that budget expenditures of $157 million, but based on major functional levels. So for instruction, our budget is 59.9% for instruction, campus admin, 7.25%, Student support is 12.58%. General administration is 3.47%. Non-student support is 15.46%, and other is 1.34% of the budget. So here's the food service budget that we're proposing for 26-27. Revenues of $11,605,920 and appropriations of $13,619,075. So in chart form, or pie form, I should say, that budget is broken up into the same major object codes. So payroll is 30.72%. Supplies are 47.62%. Contracted services are 3.25%. Other operating is 0.58%. And capital outlay is 17.83% of the food service budget. Here's the proposed debt service budget for 26-27. Revenues of $16,602,865 and appropriations of $15,521,800. And that is based on the projected tax rate that we're asking to pass for the debt service of 0.3572. So I'll entertain any questions that anybody might have.
Thank you, Karen. We will now open the floor for public comments regarding the proposed budget tax rate. Please state your name for the record before speaking. Each speaker will have 3 minutes. With no comments, does any board member have any questions? At this time, we'll open the floor for public comments. Speakers are reminded to limit their comments to 3 minutes. Remember that the board cannot deliberate or take action on matters not on the agenda, but we will carefully listen and take your concerns under advisement. We will now move to presentations. Tonight, we have a strategic roundtable. Christopher Walker will give an update on the balanced scorecard reporting category 1. I will now turn the floor over to Mr. Walker.
Thank you. Good afternoon, President Sampson, Superintendent Barnes, Board of Trustees. Today, we're going to be presenting on priority 1, specifically 1.1, accelerating achievement and learning outcomes for all students, as well as our 1.2 CCMR, strengthening post-secondary outcomes for Cleveland students. What I want to start us with last year, we took a strategic focus on 3 priorities around instruction in classrooms. Our instructional model, high quality instruction, and high quality instructional materials in all classrooms. As you can see, one of the 3 key focuses around our instructional model is our gradual release model. So specifically the I do, the we do, and the you do. We use this research-based model because it allows students to have direct instruction, modeling from a teacher before they start grappling with complex ideas. So teachers have an opportunity to teach a lesson clearly, analyze where students are before moving them through independent practice as well as collaborative practice throughout the lesson. One of the other things that was highly important for us as we think about like high quality instruction in all of our campuses is how students are engaged. Research supports that high engagement in classrooms minimizes discipline problems and also increases students' outcomes in all classrooms. So as you can see on the slide deck, we had 5 instructional strategies, or engagement strategies, excuse me, that we focused on as a district to focus on in all classrooms. Another portion of our focus, and that we're continuing to tighten on this year, was our high-quality instructional materials in all classrooms. It's extremely important that every classroom across the district has research-based instructional materials that all students are focused on. It ensures equity across classrooms, as well as teachers have aligned supports to ensure students are learning grade-level materials. Part of a focus is thinking about how we support our most novice teachers. One of the biggest challenges that many school districts face, specifically Cleveland, is we have a huge population of brand new teachers in the classrooms. I always equate coaching in the moment to think about sports. I'm a sports guy, so if we think about how an athlete, when they get on the team, they sit and watch film, and I equate that to our old coaching model in teaching. So you as an administrator, I go in the classroom, I watch a teacher, I might put together notes and think about how that teacher needs to develop and move. And that's very impactful and can be a huge benefit. But coaching on the moment adds an extra layer to that. If you think about our most novice teachers, we want to take advantage of just really perfecting instruction and helping them improve instruction as quickly as possible. And so when we think of coaching in the moment, we think of a leader or an instructional coach that's in the classroom with the teacher, similar to like a coach on the sideline at a football game. So they're analyzing what's happening and they're providing different ways that they can provide and perfect instruction in the classroom. One of the things that's really important to us is to think about how we do this in like a very unintrusive way and very minimally disruptive to the classroom. So if you look at it, you think about like there's multiple ways that we've trained our leaders of how to coach in the moment. So it could be like a silent signal, which can look very different classroom, from holding up signs by the principal or the instructional coach to just using hand signals in the back of the room. Then you can move up to more of a whisper sidebar. So if you imagine as students are engaged in independent practice throughout the lesson, the leader can give some coaching to the teacher, like, okay, ask this question at this point in the lesson. And then all the way to maybe our more invasive but high needs, was the actual instructional coach stands in and models the instructional practice for the teacher. But all of these is to think about how we can best implement some improved strategies without wasting time in instruction, and it allows the principals as well, or the instructional coaches, to continue to provide coaching as well as plan, like if you kind of equate that to film study for a football player, plan for those next steps so that they can continue to improve instruction long term. So we're proud to show a lot of the focus on these moves really showed we had a lot of success with focusing on these simple practices in classrooms. As you can see, our district made some significant improvement. We improved an entire letter grade as a district. I'm really proud to show that we had 5 of our campuses that improved from to a C rating this year, from the 24-25 school year where we didn't have any. And then we cut our DNF campuses in half this year in the district. And so we've seen that some of these practices that we really focus on have really gleaned to the improvement that we're looking for. And this year has just really been about continuing the road that we're on and refining those instructional moves. You'll also see that 5 of our campuses improved by 10 or more points total in the school year. We still have a lot of work to do, but if you look at some of our campuses, specifically a lot of our elementary schools, we saw huge improvement, and a lot of that improvement contributed to the campuses really focusing and implementing our key instructional strategies across the campuses. So I want to kind of put your eyes on some key adjustments that we're continuing to make. This year, one of the things that we're really focused on is our secondary campuses. We noticed last year with instruction that our ninth grade and middle school campuses need more time around math and reading instruction to implement the curriculum effectively, as well as make the appropriate moves that need to be made in the classrooms to improve student learning and Tier 1 instruction. One of the things we did this past year was we adjusted our master schedule to do what's called like a double block. So in math and reading, all of our middle school classes have a 90-minute block, which was previously a 45-minute block last year. Doing those things will allow the teachers to have more time around Tier 1 instruction, as well as they work through the lesson cycle, be able to analyze where students are through like an exit ticket, and they can make those adjustments within the same instructional block. So the intent of that is to increase our time around instruction, but as well as allow the teachers and leaders to make quicker pivots around the needs of students without having to wait for another instructional block or think about a different way to plan it. So we call it our second teach. So you imagine a lesson takes about 45 minutes of instruction. Students will take a 10-minute exit ticket, and then leaders have that additional time to analyze that data because it's electronically and make those instructional pivots throughout the lesson. So we expect to see a lot of progress with that. So that's happening at our ninth grade campus as well as our middle school campuses. Another big pivot for us this year are the partners and resources we're using through the district. Last year, we got approved for the LIFT grant, which stands for Leadership and Instructional Foundations for Texas. It's a 3-year grant that's focused on implementing our HQIM, as well as building some systems throughout the district as well as the campus to improve Tier 1 instruction, as well as leadership capacity and teacher and coach capacity. Our LIFT provider that we're working with this year is Sustained Ed Leaders. They'll be working with 7 of our campuses this school year. Their focus will be around implementing of that math and reading curriculum. There's a high focus on building capacity with our campus leaders as well as our district leaders around how we work with our HQIM as well as support at each facet of the campus. Also, there's a high level focus throughout the year throughout the 3-year course on strengthening our systems at the district so that we can have a strong system moving forward for Cleveland ISD. Additionally, we have 2 elementary campuses that we did not see the progress that we hoped to see in the campus, and so we've added some additional support with those campuses. There's a new program that we have called through Region 4 called RISE, so Rapid Instructional Systems Enhancement. So Pine Bur Elementary as well as Santa Fe Elementary will have some direct support through the program. It includes a coach that's on their campus every day. That coach will be supporting the leaders around building some campus-wide systems that's aligned to the Effective Schools Framework and as part of TEA, Texas Education System. So that includes building capacity around leadership implementation and coaching and developing teachers, as well as understanding how they can help support teachers through the implementation of the curriculum. Additionally, there will be a lot of real-time coaching, both in person as well as virtually through like coaching cycles. And then they'll be working collaboratively, not just with our campus leaders, but the executive principals that support those campuses as well. Both of these supports, the centerpiece of it is really focused around implementing our high-quality instructional materials, as well as building instructional leadership at each facet, so district level, campus level, and in the classroom. All right, so we're going to move over to our key action 1.2. So really focusing on our CCMR, our strengthen our post-secondary outcomes for Cleveland ISD. So we made a lot of progress. We are on track for the 25-26 school year of 77% for our CCMR rate. And I want to kind of shift some focus to think about, I want to shift focus to think about what things we've done and what things we put in place that had a direct impact on our outcomes and what we kind of expect to see moving forward. We established a task force last year with a focus on kind of 3 different areas around CCMR. So college, career, and academics. Through that, we created an internal audit through with CCMR to kind of look at how submission was being done at the campus level, and then what are our standardized processes and procedures on the campus to ensure that we're reaching all of our students. Throughout the task force, so we collaborated with stakeholders that had a different impact, executive principals, campus leaders, as well as our district leaders to support what needed to happen to ensure all of our students get the support they need. We reestablished our College Career Center on the campus, which was a key piece that was missing in previous years. We revised some supports that were happening in our counseling department and how students are getting the support they need to be ready to be college ready. We reintroduced AP courses as well as UT on-ramps and dual enrollment. And also just continue to think about how we prepare students for College Bridge and College Prep English. So as you can see, currently, we're on a rate, this is our current school year, we are currently on a rate of 45% of our students are for CCMR ready, and if you think about where that was last year, at this point last year, we were at 17%. So some of the systems that have already been in place, we're seeing immediate on track and progress for our students. We have 108 of our students that are already on track to be ready for to earn a CCMR point this year. We have 360 of our students that are approaching to be on track for CCMR. And then if you can see, you look at those numbers that we have 358 courses of enrollment in on-ramps, 427 courses in dual credit for fall enrollment, and then 392 courses for AP in AP enrollment this year. So we've made a lot of progress. So thinking about what we hope to see from this year, or what we are going to see, because it's not a hope, we're going to see it. Dr. Barnes charged our principals, our department, with 10 for 10. And 10 for 10 essentially means a minimum of 10 points growth at all 10 of our campuses. You can see the progress that we made for that 26-27 school year with our campus growth. If we continue to make that progress, when we continue to make that progress, we are on track to be a B-rated campus, and we will not have any D or F-rated schools at the end of the school year. So we're continuing to focus on high-quality instruction, use of our instructional materials, ensuring that all of our students have equitable opportunity to be engaged in all classrooms, and continuing to developing leaders to be in classrooms and support instruction. On our district side, we're working with our partners to develop systems across the district so that us as a district department as well as campuses have sustainable systems moving forward that will ensure we have a healthy district. All right, that's it. Any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. The next item is an information item regarding the initial review of the updated District Gifted and Talented Program Handbook to ensure operational alignment with the Texas Education Agency Accountability Standards and the Texas State Plan. This item was presented in the board book for board review and feedback. No formal action was required at this time. The handbook is scheduled for presentation at a subsequent meeting for final adoption. We will now move to the action portion of the agenda. You have received the proposed final budget amendment for the 2025-2026 school year. Do I have a motion to approve the final budget amendment for the 2025-2026 school year as presented? A motion by Bethany Porter, second by Jennifer Allen. Penny, I'm sorry. All approved. Motion passes 6-0. Consideration and approval of an order by the Board of Trustees of the Cleveland Independent School District providing for the deficits and calling for redemption for certain currently outstanding obligations of the district, authorizing the execution of the escrow agreement and providing the other matters in connection therewith. Do I have a motion to adopt the order authorizing deficits and redemptions of certain outstanding bonds of the district and resolving other matters, incidents, and related to the deficits of such obligations as presented?
I move that the Board of Trustees adopt the order authorizing the defeasance and redemption of certain outstanding bonds of the district and resolving other matters incident and related to the defeasance of said obligations.
I have a motion by Bethany Porter, second by Pauline Johnson. All in favor? Motion passes 6-0. You have received a proposed accelerated instruction budget for the 2026-2027 school year. Do I have a motion to adopt the 2027-2026 accelerated instruction budget, Fund 199, Function 11, for $810,000 as presented?
Second.
A motion by Bethany Porter, second by Aaron Montez Nieto. All in favor? Motion passes 6-0. Consider adoption of the 2026-2027 budget. Do I have, board members, you have received the proposed 2026-2027 budget you have received the proposed budget for the 2026-2027 school year. Do I have a motion to adopt the 2026-2027 budget as presented? A motion by Jennifer Pena, second by Bethany Porter. All in favor? Motion passes 6-0. Discussion and possible action to accept the non-new revenue tax rate, voter approval tax rate, and the rate to maintain same level of maintenance and operation revenue and paid debt services, and approval of the proposed interest and sinking rate for debt services that exceeds the minimum amount required. Do I have a motion to accept the preliminary tax rate calculations as presented, including the non-new revenue rate of 0.998 per $100 valuation, the voter approval tax rate 0.9705 per $100 valuation, and the rate to maintain of 1.0329 per $100 valuation. Furthermore, approve the proposed interest and sinking rate to debt services that exceeds the minimum required debt amount as presented. A motion by Jennifer Pena, second by Marvin Searles. All approved? Motion passes 6-0. Discussion and possible action to approve proposed interest sinking rate for debt services that exceed the minimum amount required for tax year 2026. Do I have a motion to approve the proposed interest and sinking debt services rate of 0.3572 per $100 valuation for tax year 2026 as presented?
I move that Cleveland Independent School District approve the proposal of an interest and sinking INS rate to pay debt service that exceeds the minimum debt service tax rate as defined by the Texas Tax Code and the Texas Education Code. The board finds that the district's minimum debt service tax rate, 0.3280 per $100 valuation, and that proposed interest and sinking tax rate of 0.35720 used to pay debt service exceeds the minimum debt service tax rate by 0.0292 per $100 valuation. Additional revenue generated by the proposed tax rate will be used for lawful debt service purposes, including early defeasance of retirement of outstanding bonded indebtedness, reduction of future interest costs to district taxpayers, mitigation of future tax rate volatility, payment of scheduled or anticipated debt obligations.
We have a motion by Jennifer Pena, Second by Pauline Johnson. All in favor? Motion passes 6-0. Discussion and possible action to approve the resolution adopting the 2026 tax rate for Cleveland Independent School District. Do I have a motion to approve the resolution and adopt the tax rate for the 2026 as required by Section 26.05 of the Texas Property Tax Code as presented?
Come on. Is this really gonna do it? You gonna do it?
I have a motion by Aaron Montez Nieto. A second by Jennifer Pena. All in favor? Motion passes 6-0. Do I have a motion to approve the teacher appraisal calendar and the Cleveland ISD certified T-TESS appraisers list for the 2026-2027 school year as presented? A motion by Pauline Johnson. Second by Bethany Porter. All in favor? Motion passes 6-0. Consider approval of the district requisition for purchases above $50,000 as per CH local policy. We have 4 items to consider. Do I have a motion to approve the quote for Curriculum Associates LLC out of the Fund 263, Title 3, Part A, ELA? A motion by Aaron Montez Nieto. A second by Pauline Johnson. All in favor? Motion passes 6-0. Do I have a motion to approve the project requisition to Claims Administrative Services, CVAS, out of General Fund? A motion by Marvin Searles. A second by Aaron Montez Nieto. All in favor? Motion passes 6-0. Do I have a motion to approve the project requisition to Secure Mobility out of the General Fund? A motion by Pauline Johnson. Second by Aaron Montez Nieto. All in favor? Motion passes 6-0. Do I have a motion to approve the project requisition to Hibbs Hallmark and Company Insurance out of General Fund?
Motion.
A motion by Bethany Porter. Second by Aaron Montez Nieto. All in favor? Motion passes 6-0. At this time, the board will enter into executive session under the authority of the Texas Government Code, Subchapter D, Sections 551.071, 551.072, 551.074, and 551.076. The time is now 6:37 p.m.